I'm Dr. Jessica Eastman, and this is an open Q&A. And everyone who's present to please join us by turning on your videos.
Actually, this is a little bit related to the topic of like authenticity and vulnerability, because I feel that socially in the last couple of months, like I'm not talking about in terms of dating because that's not really happening, but in terms of just like socializing, talking to people, making new friends and contacts. When I've been going out with my friend because we're in the same music scene and we go to a lot of music events where you kind of see the same people regularly, been getting to know more people, and I've been consciously trying to slowly be more of myself, like say or do things that I want to say, in the past I might have hidden, and then just taking small steps. But this week it's all felt really overwhelming, and even though things feel like they're kind of going good, I can feel like these desires and urges to self-sabotage everything and just trash all my relationships consciously to take me back to this place which ironically feels more safe.
Yeah.
So do you have advice on how to kind of, first of all, I guess I've not done that, which is great, but advice on not doing that, because I know I don't really want to trash everything in the long term. That's not good. And how to bring feelings of safety when you are trying to be more courageous or trying to be your authentic self and being more vulnerable in the moment. How do you increase the level of safety or send safety signals back to you, basically?
Yeah, I understand. This is a really great question, and I'm really glad that you asked it. So the first thing I want to do is normalize the experience that you're having, because what you're describing, wherein like you're doing things that you are working on, you're seeing progress in it, you're seeing the positive impacts of your efforts and it's going well, and that's feeling scary. And that's feeling like you want to pull back, like you want to go back into old negative behaviors as a result of this. This is so normal. And it's really important for us to talk about, right? Because we spend a lot of time talking about like, okay, well, let's try and think about how to avoid using our undesirable behaviors after stressful situations. But we neglect to factor in the reality that new situations, even when they're positive, are also stressful. And these are often situations where we can really get caught off guard and then end up acting out without even realizing what's happening. And there's kind of three separate things that happen that create this level of stress in these situations. And so I think firstly, understanding why this is happening is really important. The first thing to understand here is that your subconscious mind categorizes anything that's new as unfamiliar and potentially threatening, especially for those of us that have lived challenging experiences in the past. If we have a history of not feeling welcome or not feeling able to connect in social environments, if that suddenly starts to change, even if it's the right thing that we want, it's going to be categorized initially by our subconscious mind as unsafe because it's unfamiliar. And so let's first have compassion for the part of our brain that is trying to keep us safe and is trying to say like, hey, alert, this is new. I don't know if it's safe yet. You should pull back. And then the second part that shows up here is that naturally when we start to get things that we want, there is inherently built into that an incredible amount of vulnerability, right? It allows for you for the first time to be able to feel like even threads of the goodness of what it might feel like if you get it more fully, which inherently naturally shifts very quickly or can shift very quickly into, well, what if it goes away? And like, is it safe for me to trust this? Is it safe for me to let myself enjoy this? Is it safe for me to feel hopeful for this because it might not be here next week? It hasn't been here in the past. I don't know if it's safe for me to trust it. And that's fucking scary. It's really intense, right? And so there's a lot of contradictory experience in here. And then the third part that often comes up is when we start to get things that we wanted, that we have been working hard for a long time, and we start to feel the joy or the possibility or the hope in them. Naturally, what that also tends to bring up is the grief for us to be able to, or the grief that naturally is a product of us realizing that like, we haven't had this before, and like how disappointing and sad it is that like now you're getting to experience this for the first time. or for the first time in a long time. And so the best way, I think, to approach the like, how do you help bring yourself more safety in these newness moments is to do some parts work, which I don't know if you have much experience with, but it's the dialoguing kind of stuff that y'all have been taught, and to kind of separate the parts of you into at least two parts, like the part of you that's like excited and hopeful and like happy that you're showing up more courageously and it's having positive outcomes. You're feeling more connected, you're making friends. And then also let's make space for the part of you that finds that to be scary or vulnerable or risky, because that part makes sense too. That's like a really valid experience. And let's tend to both of those parts, right? And so maybe that means like in the moment, you're at the music event, you just had a nice interaction with somebody that made you feel like, yeah, maybe we're actually becoming friends. If you're starting to feel the anxiety or the activation come up in your body, go to the bathroom or go for a walk and remind yourself or check in with those two parts and be like, yo, that part of you that's feeling scary and like hopeful, but also like, what if it goes away? Like, it's okay that you're scared about that, you know, and then decide if you feel able to go back in and keep going or if you need a break. Right? And the best thing that I can recommend here when you are working to expand your definition of what is safe on an unconscious or subconscious level is in psychology, the concept is titration. It's a chemistry concept actually that means like, let's add just the right amount and not more than we need, right? And so how that shows up in emotional work, in psychology, in social interactions is let's work at our growth edge for as long as we can without it being too much. And then let's give ourselves a break, right? And so maybe that doesn't mean you have to leave the venue, but maybe it means like, okay, don't push yourself to have 3 more courageous conversations that night. Or maybe it means you do leave the venue and you go for a walk and you give yourself time and space to process the grief or the fear that's coming up alongside the joy. The last thing I will say is there's a chapter in The Gifts of Imperfection that I just mentioned to y'all earlier, where she talks about foreboding joy, which is exactly what you're talking about, which is this sensation of like, I have this joy and I feel like something bad is going to happen if I trust it. And there's a lot of ways to work with that. But the first is to name and validate the vulnerability that naturally comes with having something that we want, especially early on when we haven't had it for a long time. And then the second is a gratitude practice to be like, okay, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't predict the future, but I am grateful that this is happening right now, and be with that for as long as you can. And then take a break when you need to and go back into your actual safe space, which might mean like, you know, not talking to people as much or not being in social events or whatever, and then try again the next time. And each time you can get a little bit more forward.
Okay, thank you.
Whenever you're ready, here are 4 ways that Porn Reboot can help you out for free. The first way is to subscribe to our channel and make sure that you click on the notification bell to get a new video every other day. The second way is to actually get a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men, where you'll learn about my personal struggle and the lessons I learned over the past 14 years, as well as get strategies for putting together your own personalized reboot plan and ending your compulsive behavior with pornography or masturbation. So click on the link in the description below this video to get the free ebook. And thirdly, if you're not sure where you'd like to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, or you'd like to spend time with more like-minded professionals like entrepreneurs, business owners, men who work in sales or consulting or high-level jobs, men who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's also a link to join the group in the description below this video. And finally, if you need our help right now because you have a burning issue, it's an emergency. Your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally. You're about to lose your relationship and you want to live up to your potential or be an authentic man and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this video that actually says free coaching call, or visit elevatedrecovery.org and click on the link which says book a call.